part one of our series entitled The Young, Affluent, and Successful, Understanding the New Design Customer. Helping us navigate this extraordinary and unpredictable new demographic is a prestigious panel of design and trend experts led by Alan Klein, president and group publisher of Modern Luxury Media.
Anyway, let me start by introducing our three panelists. Kathleen Gasparini, she's the Senior Vice President and co-founder of Label Networks. Kathleen is internationally acclaimed as an industry leader when it comes to global youth culture marketing, research, and branding strategies. Next is Alexandria Abramian-Mott, who I have the pleasure of working with. Alexandria has worked at Angelino Magazine for 8 years, first as senior editor, then as editor-in-chief of Angelino, and now as editor-in-chief of Angelino Interiors. And then finally, Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown, interior designer, residential developer, co-star of Bravo's hit show Flipping Out, and founder of Brown Design, a full-scale interior design firm in Los Angeles. Let me start the discussion by asking Kathleen to please help us define who this new type of young, hyper-informed consumer is.
We call it a digital lifestyle because this generation is far more savvy technically than any generation before. They've grown up online. 86% have a personal profile in a social network, and the way they function includes technology in absolutely every single facet of their lifestyle. And in terms of reaching this new generation, one of the most important things to note is that they do lead a digital lifestyle, and that is something that is just completely ingrained in the way they think about things, the way they communicate, the way they look at things, and so on. A lot of young people today use technology in ways that it wasn't even originally meant for. For example, they're more apt to use their cell phone for texting than for actually making phone calls. Sometimes you'll see two young people standing right next to each other in a room, and they're both texting each other. And for a lot of older people, they think, well, that's just silly. Why aren't they just talking or using their cell phone? And it's because they want a private conversation. They use technology in ways to make public spaces private, like using an iPod on a train while commuting. So they're redefining their spaces via their technology, and that's very portable generation, very into having things that they can move around with them, things that are not static. They're okay with reading really small screens because it's better to have their own consumer control with their technology versus having something that's static. A desktop computer is considered old, for example. Even email is considered an old form of communicating. That's why a lot of young people use social networks for communicating, because it's faster, it's quicker, it's condensed to just their friends and family, and they are able to communicate much more quickly that way. They can just update their profile, boom, everybody knows what they're up to.
Ryan, can you comment a little bit on both the pluses and minuses of using technology for making decisions about home design products?
Our clients have access to all of the information that we have access to. They know where to buy it, they know the dimensions, the price, sometimes even what the wholesaler or retailer paid for it. So they know markups on things. I feel like our business, in order to really work within this new realm of technology, we have to be fully transparent. In my business, I'm fully transparent with my pricing structure. If you're not that, I really don't feel that you'll be able to make it, especially with these younger generations. It works for us and against us, but our role is becoming a bit more of the facilitator. We may be the designers, we're also the facilitators, the psychologists, and the friend oftentimes as well. So our roles are definitely changing widely as a result of the technology.
I just wanted to add to what the two of you were saying. I love what you're saying about the transparency of the pricing structure and not being the gatekeepers to the secret stash of information, because I do think that is definitely a relic of a previous era. I really appreciate that. But I also think today what I really want to talk about is how does the interior designer stay relevant, what you're talking about. How does the interior designer not turn into the travel agent? What the internet did to the travel agent, I feel like, is a cautionary tale. So hopefully we can discuss that today. But I also think I can offer myself as like a really typical client. I know a ton about interior design. I'm on the internet all day. I see all these great products. I go to houses, I go to showrooms, I know all this stuff. And when it came time to do my living room, I was stuck. I did not know what to do. I was completely stuck. And I think this is a really good thing for you to remember. Like, I think I know a ton about interior design, but I had to call in an interior designer. The end product, sure, it was stuff that was like kind of my idea. I would have never had the courage to do these, to pile on whatever, the contrasting patterns and put in this color. And the other thing is not only just to provide the courage, but I also feel like as much as I think I know, the interior designer has 10 times as many resources as I do. And when we're talking about young clients, Ryan really does have young clients. They're 30 and 28 and 32, and they have a lot of money. They don't have a ton of time, but they do have a lot of opinions, like he's talking about. When I go to these type of people's homes, invariably, I think I mentioned this to you guys, the client will pull me aside and they'll say, this was actually all my idea, but I hired an interior decorator. You know, and I think that's a shift. I think maybe 10, 20 years ago, you hired an interior decorator to get that interior decorator's look. You wanted to be part of that club that bought this interior designer's business. I think now your client wants a home that nobody else in the world is going to have. I feel like what people want in an interior design magazine is the same thing that they want in real life. They want that fourth wall to be revealed. So here's the beautiful room, and here's how it is achieved. So that's what we're trying to do more and more in Angelino Interiors. And I think one magazine that we all love that fell by the wayside was Domino, and I feel like they were really a pioneer in that field of showing this is how the designer got this look. This is exactly how much it costs a yard. This is where this textile came from. This is where it's made. And I feel like that's something that to earn the respect of our readership, we really have to respond to that savvier client and savvier reader.
They can go and look these things up. They love to do they love discovery. They're motivated by that, and they like to do their own research as well. And so, you know, it is more of a collaborative experience in terms of design now, and that's a really big shift in terms of this new consumer. They expect to be able to put in some elements of their own and create things that maybe before wouldn't have gone together. There's a lot of new influences, for example, in the youth marketplace, things like music, the changing landscape of retail, wanting things to maybe go back that are considered authentic. Authenticity is a huge concept. Looking now again at retro eras, vintage and thrift, and combining that with high-end pieces. You know, it's okay sometimes to shop at Target now, and because there's collaborations with top designers. They call it mastige in Europe, where you're bringing in some top designers and doing collaborations, say with H&M and other fashion houses, for example. And it also drives a lot of energy and a lot of excitement for the consumer. So you have this generation that's growing up with that and wanting sort of that high-low combination for themselves in their own design.